Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Benjamin Taiwo, aka Nostabs or Buganos, and I remain your favorite male nurse on TikTok. And welcome to my life as Buganos, where I share my story of relocating to Canada as a Nigerian RN, because I'm a Nigerian registered nurse as well as a Canadian RN. Relocating to Canada, I get to share tips of becoming a Canadian RN as a Nigerian or from African countries. I get to share tips to you about my immigration journey, how I became a student, an international student in Canada, the courses I studied, how life has been, cultural shocks, and everything. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, and share so that we'll be able to get to know each other more. Welcome back. Growing up, I've always known that I was going to become either a nurse or like a doctor, a veterinary doctor, because I grew up in a family of healthcare system, or how do I put it, of health. My dad is a nurse, and like I've always grown in that kind of way. So I've always known I would end up becoming a nurse. But the good part for me was that I knew I wasn't going to practice nursing in Nigeria. I knew nursing in Nigeria was not for me. But yes, I was going to study in Nigeria. And today I've achieved that dream of becoming a Canadian RN. When I was in university, I always say, oh, I want to become a Canadian RN, I want to become a Canadian RN. But I had no idea how I was going to do that. I had no idea what the process was going to be like, how I'm going to move from Nigeria to Canada. I know a lot of you can relate to that, because I know a lot of you are in that situation right now, and you'll be like, oh, how did they become a Canadian RN? You just from afar, you're thinking of what to do. I think that currently there are many resources for you to be able to get to know how to become a Canadian RN, but I can still tell you that many of the online resources will still not tell you the deep part of how you can become a Canadian RN from Nigeria. So without wasting much of your time, I'll talk about how I relocated to Canada and how my journey of becoming a Canadian RN was to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are learning something from this video. So, I finished internship in 2022, but before I finished internship, I already started my process of relocating from Nigeria, because I knew after internship I wasn't going to stay in Nigeria. I did not want to practice nursing in Nigeria. Even the internship, I did not want to finish it. Yeah, but I just had to, due to some circumstances that happened along the process of my relocation. So, I would like to say that I'm not an immigration consultant, but I'm just sharing tips and my own personal experience. So, when I was doing my internship, I looked around. I went on Google. I searched on how I can relocate to Canada, or how I can become a Canadian RN. And to become a Canadian RN, I realized that I needed to pass the NCLEX. And during my research, I realized that immigration and licensure are two different things, but they work together. When you're planning your licensure, you have to plan your immigration when it comes to Canada. When you're planning your immigration, you have to plan your licensure on the side as well. You can't just plan your immigration and think that, oh, once I move to Canada, I am automatically going to become a Canadian RN. No. Or you can't just be planning your licensure and be like, oh, I just need to write NCLEX, and think that you easily get people to sponsor you from outside the country. Or maybe once I pass, I already become a Canadian RN or anything. No, you have to work on your immigration as well. So, I needed the fastest and the easiest way to relocate to Canada from Nigeria. I was a young person of about 23 or 22 years after that time when I started my process, and I knew if I was going to go through the permanent residency route, it was going to take me some time, and I didn't want to stay in Nigeria after my internship. So what did I do? I started applying to schools so that I could come to Canada as an international student. I started applying to schools by myself, without telling my family or my parents, because I wanted to be a step ahead and be like, oh, I already have an admission and I want to I need support from you. I didn't want to go to the United Kingdom because I had an experience with them while I was in school, and I didn't want to go into becoming UK RN, and I knew UK RN wasn't going to be my last resort, wasn't going to be where I want to be. I'm not saying being UK RN isn't good, but I knew I wanted to practice either in the US or in Canada. Canada was a top one for me, because I felt oh, Canada is peaceful, there's not much gun violence and everything in Canada. So Canada was like my top option, and UK was like, if all of it doesn't work, I will now go for the UK and just try it if it's gonna work. And at that point, many people were not sponsoring people from Nigeria for the UK route. People were doing self-sponsorship. So I was like, it's gonna take like, a long time. So I started applying to schools. The first application I did to school was by myself, and I used one of my salary, and it was just a very funny experience. I used because the application fee is like $120 or so as at that point, and that was what I was earning as an intern nurse in Nigeria. So I used a full month of salary to pay for that. So I applied. I was waiting, and I wasn't getting any response. It was University of Saskatchewan. I was trying to get into the Masters of Public Health with them. Long story short, I reached out to them after it has exceeded the period that they said they respond to people on your application. So I reached out to them. I'm like, I've not gotten back from you guys, and they were like, oh, unfortunately, it was a difficult decision to make, because I was like, I had good CGPA. My CGPA was strong. I was almost in first class. My CGPA was 4 point something. Was so close. So I'm like, I had a good CGPA. I was going to get there. I was going to get the admission to the master's program. No, I didn't get it. So they said they had to go through with other people and everything. At this point, I was so tired. I was unhappy because I used my salary to do that, and it failed. I didn't give up. Then I reached out to my family, I reached out to my parents, and we had conversations about it, and we decided to move forward with Canada based on my research and what I feel I really explained everything to them, and they bought into my idea, and they were 100% in to support me. So we reached out to agents, and they helped me to secure admission, although it wasn't into masters. At that point, I felt I didn't know. I felt masters was the same thing as postgraduate diploma, because it was postgraduate. That was, you need to have your bachelor's before you can proceed with the postgraduate. So I thought it was the same as masters, but it wasn't the same. But I still thank God because I went through with the postgraduate diploma course. So I got admission to study nursing leadership and healthcare management in Conestoga College, and I was super happy. After I got admission, I didn't know that was even the beginning of my problems. Because at that point, I need to put documents together. I need to get my bank statement, everything together. Now start application process, the wait times and everything. That was the beginning of my problem. I thought it was a major breakthrough. I was like, oh, I already have admission. I'm going to Canada. I was so happy. Yeah, I was still doing my internship at that point, and I was doing the process underground. So I started my application. I gathered my proof of fund, I put my money together. I used my dad's bank statement and my bank statement as well, although I don't have much money in my account, but I was working and I was earning, so I was saving some money as well, and my dad's bank statements. So I put in the application to for my study visa, and I waited for 2 months plus or so, and it got refused. Mind you, all of this happened in 2022. My admission refusal, denial, then applying for the visa, and I could not get it. I was praying, I was fasting for this admission, for this visa to come through, but it didn't come through. I was so sad. I was kind of depressed. But I would go to work that time because I was doing my internship, like I said. I would go to work. I would just be happy, make people happy and everything, just be that jovial person. Then go back to my room and start crying because it was so painful for me. Because I already felt oh, I'll be leaving this internship. I'm leaving, I'm going, I'm relocating. But it wasn't the case. I was depressed. Then my agent was immediately was I knew the application you put in, you have enough proof of funds, your application was genuine, you're a registered nurse going to study a course that aligns with your program, you have a good background, you have good family ties back in Nigeria, you have a good intention. It was Benjamin, we need to put in this application again. I already gave up at that point because, mind you, I already had US visa denial, I had UK visa denial. Now it's a Canadian visa denial. I was my village people don't want me to leave Nigeria, so it was a super sad experience for me. But my agent was I know your application was good, maybe it was just a visa officer, let's try it again. My parents were just how much is it gonna cost us? It can't be it can't be also the amounts that we spent to reach this like this stage that we are, then they're willing to like put in the application again and see what comes off. If it works, good. If it doesn't, good. So we put in the application again, and lucky for me, by the grace of God, this application even came through faster than the other one. I submitted the same bank statement, submitted the same application, didn't change anything, submitted the same application again, and in 6 weeks I got my visa. But this time around, I already had to defer my admission because I was supposed to resume school in September, and this was already around August when I was applying again, and there was no chance of me resuming to school by September, so I had to defer my admission. And when I was trying to defer my admission, there was no intake for January for my course at that point. It was full. So I had to defer my admission to the May of 2024. This was already 2023. I started the whole process in 2022. Then this was already 2023. In 2023, so I deferred my admission. My visa came out in October because they got back to me for, I already did my medicals while waiting. Before they requested for my medicals, I already went ahead to do my medicals and I uploaded it. I sent it to them. They reached out, they asked for my passport, and by the time my visa came out, it was already October. So I was going to be done with my internship in October. So everything happened in October. I finished my internship in October. I already had my visa, but I wasn't going to be able to travel to Canada until later in the following year in 2024, which is around April or so, because my school was going to resume in May. So I got my visa. The next step is what to do, preparation on how to like relocate to Canada safely and get everything together. I'll go on a short break now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my life as Buganos. So from where we stopped, I'll continue. Now I already have my visa at hand, but I can't travel, and I was like researching about Canada and job opportunities, how job market is in Canada. At that point, I realized that the job market in Canada was kind of like this. Many people were like, oh, they couldn't get jobs on time, unlike previous years where they could easily like get a job and people even beg them to work. At that point, they were like, oh, job market is not good, job is scarce, getting a job is hard. Then I was like, what can I do to help myself when I get to the country? Because I know that I had limited financial support from back home. Converting Naira to dollar wasn't a funny one. And I have to go to Canada as an international student. I already paid my first year tuition at this point before I submitted my visa. So my first semester tuition was already paid. So I didn't have to bother about my first semester. It was going to be my second semester and maybe getting to like study another program, my living expenses and everything. Although my parents were still going to support, but you know, it wasn't going to be a funny one, converting Naira to dollars. So I thought to myself, I need to learn a trade. Because before this time, the only skill I had at that point was just nursing or healthcare, nothing else. I did not know how to do anything else. So I felt, and I thought to myself, I need to do something. So I decided to go learn either barbering or hairdressing. And it was so funny because in my head I was like, I checked how much barbers earn, I checked how much they make hair as an hairstylist in Canada, and I was like, oh, they make more money as hairstylist. You know, if you can make 2 people's hair in a day or just one, like 4 times in a week, that's like good money. So I was just having it in my head, and you know, I'm a male nurse, and you know, people be like, you're a male nurse, you're learning how to like, why are you doing female occupations every time? But I mean, know what I define, I mean, know what I want for my life. Now I'm the one that know where I want to go to, what I want to achieve with that. I did not open up about like the thought of learning hairdressing. I was like, maybe I should just learn barbering because that's more masculine. Then one day my dad just called me, was like, he just spoke with one of his friends in Canada and they were like, oh, hairstylists make money, blah blah blah. He was like, would you go and learn hairstylist and everything? I was like, oh, yes. Then I said, okay, yes. Then I started learning how to make hair from the scratch. This time I only had like few months because this was already around October ending. So I had November, December, January, February, March, April to learn and relocate to Canada and be perfect with my hairstyling skills. So I started learning. I was so serious about it. I was like, yeah. So I learned and I was so good with it. Within my first month, I was so good. I was doing a lot. So I used my like 6 months out of my 7 months or so that I had before moving to Canada to learn how to make hair. And instead of practicing nursing that time, I was just learning how to make hair full time. So after learning for 6 months, I decided I was done, and I took a 1 month break because my parents was like, come back home, we want to be seeing your face, nothing should happen to you, those kind of everything. Mind you, I was still trying to like I was still trying to do my NYC, but things happened. I could not go for the NYC. I applied like 2 or 3 times to go for the NYC. The first time I did not use anything, and they pushed me to batch B. The second time I used someone, and before the posting could come out, the person died, and I thought that the person already did the posting for me, and they posted me to Adamawa. I'm like, me, that I already had visa, and I'm like, I'm not going that far. No, it's not Adamawa, sorry, it's Abia. I should have started with A. They posted me to Abia State. Mind you, the farthest place I've gone to was Benin, where I did my bachelor's. So I was like, oh no, I'm not going, because I don't want to travel long distance. It wasn't safe in Nigeria at that point. And this kind of village people, I just got my visa. I don't want anything to happen. My parents still were like, you're not going anywhere, just come back and sit at home. So I did not go for my NYC at that point. So till now, I didn't go for NYC. Maybe in the future, maybe we'll come and save the country. So everything happened, and it was time to relocate to Canada. So I moved to Canada in April 2024. April 23, I left, and I got here April 24, right? I can't remember. Yeah, I left April ending, and I moved to Canada at that point as an international student. I was super happy. I was the happiest person in this world on that day throughout that period of relocating. I didn't know what was coming for me. Although it was good, it was a good experience. It was kind of this kind of experience, but it was experience that groomed me, that made me who I am today. So I moved to Canada. I posted. People were like, "Oh, you're going into slavery. You suffer." People were like dishing out bad words. Some were supportive, and some were like, "Oh, why are you so happy that you're relocating to Canada?" Me, that I've already had like how many visa denials I've had in the US, UK, Canada, and I got this one. I'm relocating, and I knew what I wanted to become. And mind you, before leaving to Canada, I already knew how I was going to like do my licensure. Like I already had a friend who were supposed to go together to Canada, but went before me because I had a visa refusal. So she was already going through the process of licensure, so I had someone to look up to. So immediately I moved to Canada. I started studying. I started making hair for people so that I could be able to like support myself, at least pay for my groceries, feeding, and my rent. And at this point, Naira was going down, like the rate was bad. So converting Naira to Canadian dollars was so like difficult, because if I convert Naira to dollar, it becomes a small money. So I was trying to work hard. At this time, I was already pressured because I needed to pay my second term tuition fee. Guess what? My parents sent some money to me, and I was trying to they sent Naira to me. I was trying to convert it to dollars, and I was trying to use Lemfire. I saw that the rate was so high. Then I was in this Telegram group where people convert Naira to dollars and everything for a cheaper rate. I didn't know it was a scam group. And me, that did not have full tuition to pay yet, they just sent part of it to me. Guess what? Because I was trying to exchange to get more Canadian dollars, I got into the hand of scammers, and they scammed me of that money. I could not tell my parents because it was sweat to get that money. I could not tell them. I got depressed. I was crying. I had to call my friends. I was so down because my school fees was not complete. Now, school fees not complete. Got scammed. Back to square zero. I had to start doing dirty jobs, plumbing, construction, doing blah blah blah, just to make ends meet. I'll go to class, from there go to where I'll do construction job, come back, do hair overnight for people. Like I used to do hair like overnight. Like I will not sleep, wake up in the morning, go for construction, because I had like limited like that's why I tell people that when you're relocating to Canada, make sure you already paid your first year at least, because what your eyes will see. Many of you know my journey from TikTok. I shared my experience. I shared the kind of dirty jobs I did. I looked rough. I looked so dirty and so tired, exhausted, burnt out. Just name it. Depressed. So I just kept doing all these jobs, and because I relocated to Canada in April, I started my school in May. I was supposed to pay my next tuition in around July. So I had like 3 months, May, June, July, to work and raise almost $10,000, and they even increased our school fees, so it was like $10,000 plus to pay my tuition. Where was I going to get that? And I even got scammed on top of that. I was working like mad. My parents sent some more. My younger brother supported. With all the job, jama I did, I paid half of my tuition. After paying half of my tuition, I told them that I wanted to spread it. So they allowed. It's not like spread. They said I had to pay before so time. If not, they will add extra. Even to spread it or to extend it, they added extra dollars on it. But I was like, don't worry, I'll work and pay this. So I kept working. I took loan from Nigeria. I paid my tuition. I finished that. So I finished my first course in nursing leadership and healthcare management. Now, if I finish that program and I think that I should apply for postgraduate work permit, I was going to get just 1 year, which is tricky at that point in 2024, almost 2025. Getting PR was more hard at that point. So I was like, having a 1 year PGWP and having to look for a way to get PR under that 1 year was going to be hard and tricky. So I was like, I needed to study a second program, so that if I have 1 year program and another 1 year program, add it together, that's 2 years program, I'll be able to get 3 years postgraduate work permit. But where was I going to get another $20,000? I'll rest now and I'll continue later. So my YouTube channel, I remain your favorite nurse Tabs, aka Buganers, and this is my life as Buganers. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video, and drop comments, ask questions, and I'll be able to answer your questions from there. So back to where I stopped. I already finished school. I already finished my first program, and I wanted to take an extra program. This time I didn't know where to get $20,000 from. So lucky for me, I was like, okay, I was doing, what's this thing called? What's this thing called? There's one trading thing that we were doing that time. So you put money, you'll be trading and you get some money back. So I was like, oh, I put my hopes on that. I was like, oh, I'll keep doing this, I'll keep working, because I could work full time after school before another program. That I will work full time for the 4 months. I'll take a 4 months break, work full time, then start my program the following term after taking the 4 months break. That I work full time, put my money into CBEX. It's called CBEX, yeah. Put my money into CBEX, get more money, and be able to pay my school fees, which actually kind of worked for me in a way. So I started working, and at this point, when I entered Canada, I forgot to tell you that part. Immediately I entered Canada, I already started my licensure process. I moved to Canada, I moved to Ontario, but Nova Scotia was the easiest to get my licensure from as a Nigerian or as an internationally educated nurse at that point. So I already started my licensure process at that time. Mind you, that period, NMCN started their wahala. They were like, oh, you have to study, you have to work in Nigeria for 2 years, blah blah blah. I wasn't able to get verification to proceed with my licensure with Nova Scotia. It was difficult. Like, they were fighting NMCN. I even joined the fight because I knew that if I didn't join that fight at that point, I wasn't going to get my license in Canada. Lucky for me, NMCN came to agreement, and I was part of people that they were able to verify, because I graduated in 2022. So from 2023, they weren't verifying people. So I was able to get verified and get my license verified to like get it sent to Nova Scotia. So I was eligible to write my NCLEX by the time I was done with my first program in December. So January, I started reading for NCLEX with my friends. Lucky for me, another of my friend already moved to Canada as well, and we graduated same year. She was my classmate, so we're able to verify our license together. She was doing Alberta, I was doing Nova Scotia. So we got eligibility almost same time with one of our other friends. Other friend I got to know at that point, we started reading for NCLEX. Mind you, don't let me say mind you again, I was already working full time from January. I started reading for NCLEX in January. I wanted to write my NCLEX before I resume my next program, because I knew working part-time, going to school, and reading for NCLEX together when I resume a new program would not be funny. So I needed to maximize my four months to write my exams, raise my tuition fee for my new program, and pass my NCLEX and become a Canadian RN. So I got to work. I'll go to work full time, get back at night while working, reading, studying for my NCLEX. Any break I have, I go to the library, study for my NCLEX and all. And at the end of the 4 months, before that 4 months, I paid from CBEX and my personal money, because as I was working, I was putting money in CBEX. I was trading. My money was growing. I withdrew money. I paid my first semester school fees. That was around 9,000 plus, almost 10,000, 9,900 something, 9,985 or so. I paid my first term tuition for my next program. I was so happy that I was able to pay that. And guess what? I got my first car in Canada at that point as well. This was within 1 year of relocating to Canada. Although that was not a car, that was a motor. I got a Toyota Matrix at that point so that I could be able to like commute, work easily, because my work at that point was community. I was going to my client's home from one home to another. So using the bus was so hectic and was so bad. So, and I'll be going to school again and everything. So I got the car, and on the day of me clocking 1 year in Canada was the day I selected to write my NCLEX. So I wrote my NCLEX and passed my NCLEX on my first attempt in 85 questions under like 1 hour plus in the exam hall, and I passed my NCLEX exactly 1 year of relocating to Canada. I became a Canadian RN. I was super happy. I was so happy that I was able to achieve this in 1 year. So in 1 year, I finished my first program, bought myself a car, graduated passed my NCLEX, became an Indian RN, and I was able to still pay part of my tuition fee for my next program. So I was ready at the end of that 4 months break to start my new program, which was starting in May. So I started my new program in May, and CBEX crashed. So where was I going to get the remaining 9,000 plus almost 10,000 to pay for my second term tuition? So I was not so happy because CBEX crashed, but I was happy that I invested some money and I got more than I invested. Although I took some more people, like I referred people and they didn't get their money. Some got, like my brother, he got some money. So, but I was not happy that those people that I referred could not get it. I did not post about CBEX, so that period I did not even let anybody know that I was in CBEX. But that CBEX actually helped me to pay some of my school fees. And at that point, I was just working, and I just like was working back to back again. But this time, I could not work full time again because I was in school, I was studying, so I could only work 24 hours. So I was saving my money just to pay school fees, and to the glory of God, I was saving some, and I was able to pay. Not from my salary per se. I had to get loan from Nigeria. That is what I did. I had to get loan from Nigeria through my parents because they had like investment and everything. They were trying to sell things because Nigeria's economy was already bad at that point, and exchange rate was so bad. So they had to they could not sell like some things that they needed to sell, and I had to get a loan in Nigeria. And because I was already working and I know what my income was, I told them I'll be paying every month. So I was able to collect loan, pay my second term tuition without stress, with what I already saved and the loan I got paid. Then every month I was paying back my loan in Nigeria. Even till now, I think I'm still paying it. But I think I'm almost done with it because I finished paying some. I don't want to pay the second one fully because I already paid interest rate on it. I'm like, I'll just be paying it every month. Although it's not going to build my credits, but then I just said, let me just leave it. I can pay it anytime if I want to. So that was how I was able to pay my second year tuition, and I graduated from my second program. This was in mental health intervention in Seneca College. So this time around, I already moved to Toronto after like 4 months in Waterloo, where Conestoga was, because I got a job in Toronto. So all the job I've said I was in was in Toronto. That's another thing I don't tell people to go to Conestoga or go to schools where like there's no good job opportunity, or there are many students there and they already took all the job opportunities there. Because in Conestoga, there's like other schools there, there's University of Waterloo, there's Wilfrid Laurier. So students are so much here and they've already taken most of the jobs there. So it was so hard getting a job there. So I moved to Toronto at that point. So now I finished my first year program, finished my second year program. I was doing the registered nurse. Now I was going to get a three years postgraduate work permit because I already have 1 program. That's like 2 years course. I was going to get 3 years postgraduate work permits. What I did, immediately I passed my NCLEX, I already started applying to jobs. I was applying to jobs and I was getting a response, but then nobody was going to sponsor me for a work permit, so I still had to go for my second program because I felt like, oh, maybe if I pass my NCLEX on time, maybe I'll see somebody to sponsor me and I won't have to take my second program. But no, I didn't see one. They wanted me to have a work permit. So, and some of them that reached out were like, if I can move to wherever they were, because I had Nova Scotia license, so I was applying to Nova Scotia, and I didn't want to stay in Ontario as well. So I wasn't applying to jobs in Ontario, and I was looking at jobs in Ontario. Some were offering nonsense money. So I stopped applying to jobs again. This time around, I already got like recruiters. I already like got a response from them, and some of them were like, "Oh, we need somebody that is willing to relocate right away." Because at that point, it was around April, May when I passed my NCLEX. I was applying to jobs, and I wasn't going to be done with my school until December of 2025. So some of them were like, "Oh, we need somebody that is willing to relocate now. December is still far. You can apply later." So there's one particular employer, which was the one I later worked for in Nova Scotia. I connected with them. I spoke to the person. I was like, I want to keep your email so that I'll be able to reach out to you whenever I'm ready to relocate to Nova Scotia and everything. And she was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll keep my email, keep me updated. Whenever you're ready, we'll refer you and we'll get you the job." So October, before I finished my second program, I started applying to jobs back, because I stopped, because I knew that I wasn't going to relocate immediately. So I stopped applying, and by October I started applying again, and I was getting response, I was getting refusal, like unfortunately. Then I remember this person that I reached out to before, the recruiter that I talked about, and I reached out to them, and I already applied to them by myself on Indeed and on their website. They did not respond, but when I reached out to the recruiter, she referred me to the Nova Scotia branch, because I think that recruiter was in the Ontario branch. So they referred me to the Nova Scotia branch, and they scheduled me for an interview. I moved to Nova Scotia, did my interview, got my job offer the last week of my study as an international student. So the last week, like when I was writing the exam, that was when I got my full-time job offer as a registered nurse in Canada. So I was finishing school, I already had a job as a registered nurse waiting for me. I was like, "God, thank you." Anyways, I'm God's Nepo baby. God has always been good to me, so I was super happy. So I finished school, full-time job was waiting for me. So I resigned from my job as a personal support worker after school, and I took like a week break, and I drove 19 hours from Ontario to Nova Scotia, and that was the end of my international student era. At that point, I already applied for my postgraduate work permit, and I moved to Nova Scotia. So that was a bit of my story of how I went through with my program and merging everything with work and school, reading. So I took 4 months break, read, passed my NCLEX, continued school. That was how I did mine. So that was what I did, and I relocated to Nova Scotia to start working as a registered nurse. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I think I'll see you guys later. And if you have any question, don't forget to drop it in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Tap subscribe so that we'll like share more on this platform, and don't forget to like, share it to your friends, tag them, let them come and watch. And again, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am your favorite friend of Stabs, and this is my life as Yoga Nurse. That is my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Again, I'm watching you. And don't forget to go to my TikTok, like, follow on TikTok as well, and drop any questions you have. I guess I'll see you back later. I will see you guys soon, and bye bye.